Hi, welcome to Meta Minutes, your bite-sized pieces of the Metaverse. My name is Rene from Valorem Reply, and today we're going to talk about public policies for the Metaverse and much more, actually. And I'm very honored to have a special expert guest today, the fantastic Sophia Moshasha. Hi, Sophia, and welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Rene.
Awesome. Well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background as it relates to the Metaverse for all the folks that might not know you?
Yeah, I have been in immersive technologies now called the Metaverse for about 7 years now, and it really drew me to the industry because it was just so easy to understand and relate to, especially coming from like a marketing background, and I understood how it related to empathy for people, and then how that translates across all industries. So I've been doing a lot in this space, again, across all industries, and helping clients, helping partners figure out how to apply the technologies to those relevant spaces.
Nice. And like you said, you have been working in the AR, VR, and now, like you said, Metaverse community since many years, and are very also strongly involved in the community. And in fact, I remember we met in person the first time when you actually interviewed me for the VR and AR Association's podcast, which was 5 years ago. Can you imagine? It's like time flies, huh?
It's
But
crazy. Mhm.
yeah, but anyhow, let's start with a simple but also complex question. Actually, what is the Metaverse for you, and where do you see the potential?
The metaverse is right here, and this is part of it, right? We're in it. It's all these digital virtual technologies kind of coming together cohesively, kind of being able to move in and out of spaces, and potentially even carry your identity across those different spaces. Ideally, they would be 3D immersive spaces, but then interconnecting with all the other emerging technologies that are coming to fruition now. And we can only begin to imagine what that will become. But I think that all of us kind of had this baseline standard understanding expectation that the metaverse is going to be um, interconnected 3D worlds, persistent worlds that we can convey our personal identity through across those worlds and be able to do um, pretty much everything that we could do in real life besides eat and sleep, although I'm sure some people are trying that as well. And create opportunities for learning, for connection, for commerce, and grow the economy in exponentially ways across the globe.
Right. That's a lovely definition. And in fact, like you said, like, oh, maybe some folks are actually sleeping in VR or whatever. I think I remember there was one guy that actually tried it for a few days to basically just live in a virtual world and an empty apartment or something like this, and had all of the stuff set up virtually, right? And which is, oh man, that's very dystopian. I don't buy into this, of course, right? It's like that's also a misconception you often hear from a lot of folks, like, oh, no, 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 I don't want to do this, I don't want to live in this pure virtual thingy world. And some people really think that this is a replacement for the real world. Like, what? No, we love the real world, we need the physical world. I mean, right, what is this?
This is how I relate it. I, you know, I use social media a lot as well, a lot to stay connected to people. And I think that the combination of all of these tools is what I call them, the tools on your tool belt, to be able to stay connected, to stay relevant, to continue with personal and business affairs, is the utilization of all of these tools that we have available to us, to include the in-person real life connections, which we can't exclude because nothing can replace seeing someone in real life and being with them in real life. But then being able to stay connected in the meantime through virtual mediums, through social media. And I think all of these things are just as equally important, or will become equally important, to be able to maintain those connections with the people that we meet.
Yeah, fully agreed. And it's rather an enhancement, right, of today's kind of digital collaboration and communication tools,
Mhm.
rather than a replacement of the physical world. So That's the, I guess that's the main point. But anyhow, we also, probably all of us, maybe also the audience, heard about issues that are happening in certain metaverse platforms. I'm not going to put out names there, but there are people get harassed, even kids, get harassed in these platforms because, like, parents, they just bought them like a VR device for Christmas or whatever, and then they give it to them, and just like, hey, do whatever you want without any instructions or like a little bit of oversight or something. And well, then it might go into these platforms where it's pretty much the Wild West at the moment, right? Which is cool to some degree. I mean, there's certain, I would say, creative and innovative things that come out of these kind of, hey, I can do anything I want. But also to some degree, it's not cool when harassments happen, right?
Hmm.
Like, this is really a red line. And I guess this is also one of the reasons why public policies are needed. And what do you think? Why is it important to look into these policies and regulations for the metaverse? And maybe you can also tell us a little bit about some of the policies and regulations that are top of mind at the moment, and the motivation, basically.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me preface it by saying, it's like, this is like the fruition of the modern day internet where, all the chat rooms were popping up and a lot of kids were on that too back in the day. And there was just searching the web like it didn't matter. And the parents had no idea. They don't know what's out there and what they should be aware of. So, first and foremost, it's just responsible usage by the individual. As we need to do with watching TV, with using the internet and these different devices. And now there's like parental controls on these things as well. So I think we'll come to a time where once adoption gains traction, policymakers and other organizations are they already are, but they're going to continue to care more about helping people use this technology responsibly because it's not really going anywhere, right? And it can be used for really great things, but things like, I mean, I don't know, in these virtual worlds, identity theft means something completely different, right, than what we're used to right now. And again, we can just begin to imagine what that could be like and the implications of that. Um, things like deep fakes and just being able to truly pretend that you are embodying someone else. And with how believable things are in these different worlds and environments, being able to embody somebody else and pretend like you are them is a lot more compelling than a chat bot or an email coming to you from a seemingly recognizable source. And so I think that that can definitely be of danger, especially when we're developing relationships in these deeper ways with um, beings that we believe and perceive to be real. So I think that is definitely top of mind. Cybersecurity uh, definitely folds into the metaverse, and I know the FBI is just beginning to start to figure out what they should be caring about. And I think it's definitely a good time to have these conversations to get out in front of mass adoption so we can again deploy responsibly because it is the Wild West and it can become even more messy once it's out there in the ether. And, you know, we're deploying to the masses without having thought about some of the things and the regulations that we should be thinking about up front. It becomes really hard to reel it back in. So it's really important to have these conversations now. Um, even with uh, safety with using the hardware itself. I know Underwriters Laboratory is working on a certification for standards for hardware development as well, safety standards for hardware development. But again, it's hard to get sign off on these things because everything is still new and we
Yeah.
don't want to hinder innovation at the same time. So, how do we balance these two um, priorities, I guess, while being able to innovate within the realm of safety standards and policy standards. There is definitely a lot of back and forth, but I believe that everybody is excited about the possibilities of this. And so the conversations that I've heard have just been, they've been great, and again, it comes down, at least for right now, and then moving into the future, to just personal responsibility of how you use these technologies. The good thing is with the metaverse is if you do get harassed in the metaverse, you can just take off your headset. But there are, I do see different things being implemented, like personal space bubbles around you, or the host of an environment can moderate the users and put restrictions on users for access to different worlds and things like that. um, the good thing is, because each platform, each metaverse platform is its own, and it's not necessarily regulated by, an overarching umbrella. The owners of each platform, or each world within each platform, could really have their own kind of resignation over what happens there. And so I think it's good, because we just have a lot more opportunity for policing, these worlds, and acting upon bad behavior as it comes. So rather than putting like a ticket into Twitter and waiting like 3-4 weeks for a response, because everything is so real time, we need to be able to act in real time as well. So yeah, those are some of the things that I've come across. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, um, the right people are having the right conversations now. And that's really exciting, because it just goes to show and prove that this is a real thing, and it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah. It's a very good point, and I can give you another signal, or maybe probably you already have seen it, but the European Commission, the European Union, basically, the president Ursula von der Leyen, like in her State of the Union, she basically put the metaverse as one of the topics for the European Commission to look into in the next couple of years, right?
I heard about
And
that.
yeah, and so that's exciting for me, being a European person, right? Like living in Germany and being affected by laws there. But I think it's both, right? It's an opportunity. I hope they just don't mess it up with over regulations, because this can happen sometimes, and this will hinder innovation and research and things like this. But something needs to happen, and I fully agree. And it's great to hear what you said, that the right folks are talking with each other, and so let's see what comes out of it, and hopefully we can influence it a little bit so that it comes in a good way, right?
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about another topic. At AWE, the Augmented World Expo, a couple of months ago, I think it was June or July, you took part in something quite novel I have not seen before, which was called at the Meta Traversal, A Day in the Life.
Mhm.
And folks, you have to look it up on YouTube or whatever. It's pretty amazing. It was basically a stage play with quite a twist. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, so a group of us, I think it was like 15 or 17 people in this cast, like all stars of the industry. So it was super fun to work with them. Um, we basically did a live stage play of what it could be like using these different immersive technologies, metaverse technologies, in a day in the life of someone. So it involved a lot of personal and family and friend matters, and interactions, as well as a lot of the professional stuff as well, to just showcase how we could reuse these technologies in real life, right? We talk about them a lot, but it's very rare that we actually see the realistic applications of this for on a consumer level, right? Because right
Mhm.
now there's a lot of deployment of this technology, but they're in like enterprise settings and those types of things. Um, and so we just wanted to show what it would be like with people using these technologies. So it was very interesting, because technology in itself, um, you know, is great when it works and then sucks when it doesn't. However, doing that live on stage and then switching out different, hardware and software platforms between each scene, between different people, was tough. And we only had 3 days all in person together to rehearse this. All the other rehearsals were done virtually, which I guess makes sense considering we're using virtual technologies. So we got a lot done during those virtual rehearsals. However, to do this on stage, there's definitely some considerations that need to be taken that, we had a lot of foresight on, but there's a lot of lessons learned there actually as well, which we hope to come together and talk about during, the next AWE or one of the XR conferences coming up, because it's so there's some great lessons learned in terms of like, um, making sure you have the right lighting, and making sure that, like the person that was setting up the headset for me was on the ground level, and then bringing the headset up to me on stage, where yeah, where then I had to use it and I was like 10 feet tall instead of being on the ground like I should have been. Like those types of things are things to keep in mind. And then there's a lot more, but what I thought was really cool about it was just looking at the script itself was really interesting, because the stage directions that were put in the script are very metaversy, uh, and things that wouldn't go in regular stage plays. And we're talking about different directional cues from within these virtual worlds that we need to do. Walk to the left, walk through the portal, and then like those types of things that you wouldn't really see in real life. So it was really interesting, just the scripting of this play itself. And it was awesome. We used a combination of VR, of AR, how it would be used with friends, how it would be used in professional settings. And I think from what I've heard, people loved it. They loved being a part of it. They loved seeing it. And nothing works perfectly, which is it's okay. And I love doing it around people in our industry that are totally understanding of this and just want to see something new and novel, and love the trials and tribulations that come with it, and they're totally down for it. So it was really cool doing it amongst peers that wanted to see something new and were totally understanding of things breaking and not working all the way correctly. And it was just really fun to do.
Yeah. Well, we all have been there, right? Like maybe not in such a strong and complex situation, but we all have been doing demos and things break, and so we can appreciate and feel for it. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
it's awesome.
and a big prerogative of, again, of doing this stage play was to showcase not only these technologies, but like metaverse capabilities of being interoperable, being able to portal from one place to another. So we used a lot of, actually most of what we used was WebXR platforms, because our particular team does a lot around the immersive web, and kind of showcasing the capabilities there. And we believe that's where true metaverse capabilities are, going to continue to evolve and grow. Being able to connect these different disparate virtual worlds and platforms together. So we did a lot of that live on stage, and we thought that was important.
This is great. Yeah, and I mean, WebXR is just fantastic, having a wide reach to pretty much anyone that has a browser, right? So
Absolutely.
this is awesome. No app installation needed. Now, this is great. Are we going to see a sequel?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
We've been talking about it. We've been talking about it. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but yes, we will. Just stay tuned.
Awesome, awesome. Well, really exciting, and thank you so much for chatting with us. We're already at the end of our short show here. We could talk for many more hours, and would love to learn more about your insights. But thank you so much, Sophia. Very much appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, and thanks everyone for joining us for Meta Minutes, your bite-sized pieces of the metaverse. Watch our blog, follow our social media channels, subscribe to the YouTube to hear all about the next upcoming episodes, and of course, visit our website to watch all the previous episodes. Until then, take care and see you soon in the metaverse.